What if the very foods mentioned in the oldest book ever written, foods eaten by prophets, kings, and common people alike for thousands of years, were quietly among the most powerful artery-cleansing agents ever discovered? Not a pill, not a prescription, not something manufactured in a laboratory and sold at a premium, something you can buy at a farmer's market, grow in a garden, find on a grocery shelf. You felt it too, haven't you? That quiet sense that somewhere along the way, something was taken from us. That the wisdom our great-grandparents carried in their hands, in their kitchens, in their faith, got quietly replaced by something colder, something more profitable. Today, I'm going to show you 15 biblical foods that research suggests may help clean your arteries naturally. Foods that have been feeding and healing humanity since long before statins were invented. Stay with me, because number 11 on this list is a seed so small you could hold 1,000 in one hand. And yet studies suggest it may reduce arterial inflammation better than many over-the-counter options. And number 15, this one surprises almost everyone, is a food so common, so ordinary, that you've probably passed it in the grocery store 100 times without knowing what it was quietly capable of doing for your heart. Let's get into it. Number 1. Olive oil. The liquid covenant long before olive oil was pressed into sleek dark bottles and placed on the shelves of specialty stores. It was sacred. In ancient Israel, olive oil was used to anoint kings. It fueled the lamps of the temple. It was pressed by hand, carried in clay jars, and traded across the ancient Mediterranean world as one of the most valued substances a person could possess. The olive tree itself was a symbol of peace, of endurance, of divine provision. Mention of it runs from Genesis all the way to Revelation. But what the ancients understood through experience and faith, science has now begun to confirm in the laboratory. Olive oil, particularly extra virgin olive oil, is rich in a compound called oleocanthal. Oleocanthal works in the body in a way that researchers have found remarkable. It inhibits the same inflammatory enzymes targeted by common pain relief medications, but without the side effects. Inflammation is one of the root contributors to arterial plaque buildup, and oleocanthal goes to work directly on that process. Beyond oleocanthal, olive oil is dense in monounsaturated fatty acids, specifically oleic acid, which research suggests may help lower LDL cholesterol, the kind associated with arterial deposits, while preserving HDL, the protective kind. Studies show that populations consuming olive oil as a dietary staple have significantly lower rates of cardiovascular disease. One large Mediterranean diet study found that participants who consumed extra virgin olive oil regularly saw measurably improved arterial flexibility over time. The practical use here is simple. Replace refined seed oils in your cooking with extra virgin olive oil. Use it cold on salads, drizzle it on bread, finish cooked vegetables with it. Heat gently. Very high heat degrades its beneficial compounds. Think of olive oil as the anointing the body didn't know it was waiting for. The ancient gift that keeps the channels of life flowing clean. Number 2. Pomegranate. The fruit of paradise. The pomegranate appears in the Bible as a symbol of abundance and beauty. It was carved into the pillars of Solomon's temple. It adorned the robes of the high priests. Ancient Egyptians buried pomegranates with their dead as an offering for the afterlife. In Persian tradition, it symbolized eternal life. Over 4,000 years of reverence, and modern research is starting to understand why. The pomegranate contains one of the highest antioxidant concentrations of any fruit studied. The key compound here is punicalagin, a powerful polyphenol found almost exclusively in pomegranate. Punicalagin converts in the body into urolithins, which have demonstrated potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant activity. What makes this particularly relevant for arterial health is that oxidative stress, the damage caused by free radicals, is a major driver of atherosclerosis, the process by which plaques form on arterial walls. Antioxidants work to neutralize that stress before it takes hold. Research has demonstrated that regular pomegranate consumption may help reduce the thickness of carotid artery walls, a key marker of cardiovascular risk. One study tracked participants over 3 years and found meaningful reductions in arterial plaque progression among those who consumed pomegranate juice daily. You don't need much. A small glass of pure pomegranate juice, no added sugar, each morning is a simple way to bring this ancient fruit back into your life. Or eat the seeds fresh, scattered over oatmeal or yogurt. Number 3. Garlic, the warrior's medicine. 5,000 years ago, Egyptian laborers building the pyramids were given garlic every day, not as a flavor, as medicine, as strength, as protection. The Talmud references garlic. Ancient Greek physicians prescribed it. It appears throughout the ancient Near East as both food and remedy, and it shows up in the Bible as one of the foods the Israelites longed for after leaving Egypt, alongside leeks, onions, and cucumbers. There is a reason garlic endured across every ancient civilization that encountered it. When garlic is crushed or chopped, an enzyme called allinase converts alline into allicin. Allicin is the compound responsible for garlic's sharp smell and much of its medicinal power. Allicin has demonstrated antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, and vasodilatory effects. It helps relax blood vessel walls, allowing blood to move more freely, reducing the mechanical stress that contributes to arterial damage. Studies show that aged garlic extract, in particular, has been linked to reductions in arterial stiffness. One clinical trial found that participants taking aged garlic extract over 12 months showed a meaningful reduction in coronary artery calcium scores, one of the most direct measures of arterial plaque. To use garlic effectively, crush a clove and let it rest for 10 minutes before cooking. That resting period allows the allinase reaction to complete, maximizing allicin content. Use it raw in dressings or gently sautéed. Aged garlic supplements are also widely available if the flavor is a barrier. Number 4. Figs, the tree of healing leaves. When Adam and Eve needed covering, they reached for fig leaves. When King Hezekiah was gravely ill, the prophet Isaiah prescribed a poultice of figs, and the king recovered. The fig tree is mentioned more than any other fruit tree in the entire Bible. It is not a coincidence that this humble, wrinkled fruit carries such symbolic weight. The people who ate it daily understood, in the way that long experience teaches, that figs did something for the body. Figs are extraordinarily rich in soluble fiber, particularly a type called pectin. In the digestive tract, pectin forms a thick gel that binds to cholesterol-carrying bile acids and carries them out of the body before they can be reabsorbed. This forces the liver to draw cholesterol from the blood to produce more bile, which lowers circulating LDL levels over time. Figs also contain significant amounts of potassium, which helps regulate blood pressure by balancing the effects of sodium and relaxing arterial walls. High blood pressure is one of the primary mechanical stressors that damages arteries from the inside. Research suggests that regular fig consumption may support healthy blood lipid profiles and reduce oxidative markers in the blood. Animal studies have shown reductions in triglyceride and total cholesterol levels, and human observational data supports the pattern. Eat figs fresh when in season or dried. 2 to 3 a day is a reasonable and pleasurable practice. Pair them with a handful of walnuts for a heart-supporting combination our ancestors would have recognized instantly. Number 5. Lentils. The forgotten superfood of the field, Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of lentil stew. That is how valuable it was. Lentils were a staple food across the ancient world: Egypt, Mesopotamia, Israel, Greece, Rome. They grew easily, stored well, and fed entire populations through winter and famine alike. They were the food of survival. And it turns out, they are also the food of longevity. Lentils are one of the richest plant sources of soluble fiber available. Like figs, this fiber binds to bile acids and pulls cholesterol out of circulation. But lentils do something else as well. They are rich in folate, a B vitamin that plays a critical role in metabolizing homocysteine. Homocysteine is an amino acid that, when elevated, damages the inner lining of arteries, the endothelium, creating the microscopic injuries where plaque begins to form. Folate helps convert homocysteine back into harmless compounds, reducing that arterial damage at the source. Studies show that high legume consumption is consistently associated with lower cardiovascular disease risk across diverse global populations. Specific research on lentils has found reductions in total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol in participants who ate them regularly over just a few weeks. The practical use is among the simplest on this list. A bowl of lentil soup, 2 or 3 times a week, is one of the most cost-effective and proven dietary habits you can build. Slow cooked with onion, garlic, and cumin, 3 other ancient foods, it becomes something greater than the sum of its parts. Real quick, if you're finding this valuable, if you're starting to see that the most powerful foods for your heart have been sitting in ancient scriptures and kitchen gardens all along, not in prescription bottles. Hit that like button. It costs you nothing, and it helps this video reach the people who need it most. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click that subscribe button and ring the bell. We post every week, and we're building a community of people who are done being told that healing has to be complicated, expensive, or handed to them by an industry that profits from their confusion. Number 6. Walnuts. The brain that protects the heart, even the shape of a walnut, is instructive. Split open the shell, and the meat inside resembles, uncannily, a human brain. Ancient physicians, following the doctrine of signatures, believed foods shaped like organs nourished those organs. Modern science took a different path, but arrived at a similar destination. Walnuts appear in the Song of Solomon. They were cultivated throughout the ancient Mediterranean and Middle East. Persian kings ate them. Roman soldiers carried them. They were among the most traded food commodities of the ancient world. Walnuts are uniquely rich in alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA, the plant-based form of omega-3 fatty acid. ALA reduces systemic inflammation and has been shown to improve the ratio of beneficial to harmful fats in the blood. Walnuts also contain L-arginine, an amino acid the body uses to produce nitric oxide, a molecule that relaxes and widens blood vessels, improving blood flow and reducing arterial pressure. Research has demonstrated that eating a small handful of walnuts daily, roughly an ounce, can reduce LDL cholesterol by 9 to 16% in some studies. A large meta-analysis found that walnut consumption was consistently associated with reduced total cardiovascular risk. A handful a day is all that is needed. Eat them raw, unsalted, between meals as a snack, or crushed over warm oatmeal in the morning. Do not roast them in oil that compromises the fatty acids. Number 7. Honey, the golden medicine of beekeepers and prophets. The land promised to the Israelites was described as flowing with milk and honey. Honey is referenced in Scripture as a gift, something reserved, something precious. John the Baptist ate wild honey in the desert. Samson found honey in a lion's carcass and called it sweet. For thousands of years, honey was not only food, it was medicine. It was used to dress wounds, treat infections, and soothe inflammation. Ancient Egyptian medical papyri list honey as an ingredient in hundreds of remedies. Otter honey contains a remarkable array of bioactive compounds, enzymes, polyphenols, flavonoids, organic acids, and trace minerals. The polyphenols found in darker honeys, like buckwheat or manuka honey, have demonstrated antioxidant activity comparable to many fruits and vegetables. These antioxidants reduce the oxidative stress that damages arterial walls. Studies show that raw honey, unlike refined sugar, may actually support healthy lipid profiles when consumed in moderate amounts. Some research has found that substituting honey for sugar leads to reductions in LDL cholesterol and triglycerides while improving HDL levels. The key compounds appear to include creatine and quercetin, both of which have documented anti-inflammatory properties. Use raw, unfiltered honey, not the processed, clear honey in squeeze bears that has been heated until all its enzymes are destroyed. A small amount in warm tea, on bread, or mixed into a dressing is sufficient. Moderation is important. Honey is still a sugar. Think of honey as the sweetness the world was always meant to offer, unrefined, alive, and carrying more gifts than it shows. Number 8. Grapes, the vine of life. The vine is one of the most enduring symbols in all of Scripture. I am the vine, Jesus said. Noah planted a vineyard after the flood. The spies sent into Canaan returned with grapes so large it took 2 men to carry a single cluster. Grapes, and wine made from them, were central to the diet and ritual life of the ancient world. The heart health story of grapes centers on a compound called resveratrol, found primarily in the skin. Resveratrol is a polyphenol that has attracted enormous scientific interest. It activates cellular pathways associated with reduced inflammation, improved endothelial function, and inhibited platelet aggregation. Beyond resveratrol, grapes contain quercetin and catechins, additional flavonoids that support vascular health by reducing oxidative stress along arterial walls. Studies show that consuming whole grapes or pure grape juice may reduce markers of arterial stiffness and improve blood flow. Research also suggests reductions in systolic blood pressure with regular grape consumption, which matters because blood pressure damage to arteries is cumulative and insidious. Eat red or purple grapes whole, with the skin, which is where most of the beneficial compounds concentrate. Freeze them as a simple snack. Drink pure, unsweetened Concord grape juice in small amounts. If you are interested in grapeseed extract, research has found it to be among the most potent antioxidant supplements currently studied. Number 9. Onions. The humble healer of the ancients. The Israelites wept for the onions of Egypt. That is how much they missed them. Not a metaphor, a literal longing. Onions were so woven into the daily diet of the ancient Near East that their absence felt like deprivation. Onions belong to the allium family alongside garlic and leeks, and like garlic, they contain organosulfur compounds that have significant effects on cardiovascular health. But onions have something garlic has in smaller quantities: quercetin. Quercetin is one of the most studied flavonoids in the world. It is a potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory agent. It inhibits the oxidation of LDL cholesterol, which is the specific step that turns ordinary LDL into the dangerous artery-damaging form that triggers plaque formation. Quercetin has also shown blood pressure-lowering effects, with some meta-analyses finding reductions in systolic pressure of 3 to 7 millimeters of mercury in people consuming quercetin-rich foods or supplements. Red and yellow onions contain the most quercetin, concentrated in the outermost layers just beneath the dry skin. Eat them raw in salads for maximum benefit. Cooking reduces quercetin content by 20 to 50%. Caramelizing onions slowly, while delicious, destroys a significant portion of the active compounds. 1 to 2 servings of raw or lightly cooked onion per day is a meaningful dose. Add them to sandwiches, chop them finely into dressings, or pickle them with a little vinegar for a side that works with almost anything. Number 10. Almonds. The priestly fruit of the almond tree, Aaron's rod, budded, blossomed, and produced almonds overnight. A divine sign chosen above all other fruits. The menorah of the tabernacle was shaped to resemble an almond branch. Almonds were included among the finest gifts Benjamin carried to Egypt. This fruit nut has been revered across the ancient Mediterranean world for thousands of years, and science is beginning to understand the reverence. Almonds are dense in monounsaturated fats, similar in profile to olive oil. They are rich in vitamin E, specifically the alpha-tocopherol form, which is one of the most potent fat-soluble antioxidants the body uses to protect LDL cholesterol from oxidation along arterial walls. They also contain a remarkable amount of magnesium, a mineral chronically deficient in modern diets. Magnesium relaxes the smooth muscle tissue surrounding blood vessels, directly reducing blood pressure and improving arterial flexibility. Studies show that eating a daily portion of almonds, roughly 1.5 ounces, can reduce LDL cholesterol by 5 to 10% in people with elevated levels. A large clinical trial found that almond consumption also reduced belly fat, which is independently associated with cardiovascular risk. Eat raw, unsalted almonds. Almond butter without added oils is equally good. Soak them overnight in water if you find them hard to digest. Soaking partially neutralizes phytic acid, which inhibits mineral absorption. Think of almonds as the priestly provision, chosen above all others, given not by accident, but with a purpose the body still honors. Number 11. Mustard seeds. The kingdom in the smallest thing. Jesus compared the kingdom of heaven to a mustard seed. The smallest of seeds, he said, that grows into the greatest of herbs. That description turns out to be more than metaphor, because what fits inside a mustard seed, in terms of medicinal density per unit of size, is extraordinary. Bostard seeds contain glucosinolates, which break down during digestion into isothiocyanates, compounds with potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant activity. They also contain selenium, a trace mineral that activates glutathione peroxidase, one of the body's primary antioxidant enzyme systems, and they contain omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium, and fiber in a concentration remarkable for something so small. Studies suggest that isothiocyanates may specifically inhibit the oxidative modification of LDL cholesterol, the step that initiates plaque formation. Research has also found reductions in inflammatory markers in participants consuming mustard seed or oil regularly. This is the one that surprises people. The one I teased at the beginning. A teaspoon of ground mustard seed or whole mustard seeds toasted and added to cooking is an easy habit to build. Use whole grain mustard, which retains the full seed, as a condiment in salad dressings or rubbed on meats before slow cooking. Avoid the bright yellow commercial mustard made with turmeric dye and little else. Number 12. Leeks. The overlooked guardian of circulation. Leeks were among the foods the Israelites mourned when they left Egypt, right alongside onions and garlic. They were staple vegetables across the ancient Mediterranean, consumed by Egyptian laborers, Roman soldiers, and peasant farmers alike. They belong to the same allium family as onions and garlic, but they carry their own distinct profile of medicinal compounds. Leeks are particularly rich in kaempferol, a flavonoid found in few other foods at comparable concentrations. Kaempferol has attracted scientific attention for its ability to protect blood vessel walls, specifically the endothelial cells that line arteries, from inflammatory damage. Research suggests kaempferol may reduce the expression of cellular adhesion molecules, which are proteins that allow LDL particles and immune cells to stick to arterial walls and begin the plaque formation cascade. Leeks are also rich in the prebiotic fiber inulin. Inulin feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which in turn produce short-chain fatty acids that reduce systemic inflammation, a mechanism that connects gut health to cardiovascular health in ways researchers are only beginning to fully understand. Use leeks in soups and stews, or slow-cooked in butter or olive oil as a side dish. The dark green tops, often discarded, actually contain the highest concentration of beneficial compounds. Use them in stock or soups. Number 13. Barley. The bread of humble men and strong hearts, barley, was the grain of the poor in the ancient world, the bread of common people, of soldiers, of fishermen. 5 barley loaves fed a multitude in the Gospels. Ruth gleaned barley in the fields of Boaz. It was humble, it was plentiful, and it turns out it was quietly doing something remarkable. Barley is the single richest source of beta-glucan among all grains. Beta-glucan is a soluble fiber that has one of the most well-documented cholesterol-lowering effects of any dietary substance studied. In the small intestine, beta-glucan forms a thick, viscous gel that traps bile acids and cholesterol, carrying them out of the body before absorption can occur. The FDA, not typically known for endorsing natural remedies, has actually approved a health claim for beta-glucan in both oats and barley, specifically recognizing its cholesterol-lowering effect. Research demonstrates that 3 grams of barley beta-glucan per day can reduce LDL cholesterol by 5 to 10% consistently. Barley also has an exceptionally low glycemic index compared to other grains, meaning it releases sugar into the blood slowly, which matters because chronically elevated blood sugar damages arterial walls over time. Use whole grain barley in soups, stews, and grain bowls. Barley flour can replace a portion of wheat flour in bread baking. Start with 1 serving a few times a week and build from there. Number 14. Bitter herbs. The medicine in the Passover meal, the Passover Seder, commanded bitter herbs. Maror, not as punishment, but as remembrance. Bitter is a flavor modern diets have almost entirely eliminated. That elimination may carry a cost we haven't fully calculated yet. Traditionally, the bitter herbs of Passover included endive, chicory, horseradish, and romaine. Each of these contains bitter compounds, primarily sesquiterpene lactones and various glucosides, that stimulate digestive secretions, improve liver function, and support the processing of dietary fats. The liver, as I mentioned earlier, is the primary manager of blood cholesterol. It decides how much to produce, how much to remove, how much to convert to bile. When the liver is sluggish, when bile flow is slow, and fat digestion is impaired, blood lipid levels can creep upward. Bitter herbs stimulate what herbalists call cholagogue activity. They promote the production and flow of bile, which accelerates cholesterol processing and removal. Horseradish additionally contains sinigrin, a glucosinolate with anti-inflammatory properties, similar to those found in mustard seeds. Clinical research on chicory specifically has found reductions in LDL cholesterol and improvements in bile acid excretion with regular consumption. Inulin from chicory root is among the best-studied prebiotics for gut and metabolic health. Eat these foods before meals, a few leaves of endive, a small amount of horseradish, or a bitter green salad. Prepare them as the Passover table did, with intention, knowing that the bitter thing carries the medicine. Think of bitter herbs as the Passover reminder that the hard thing, endured with purpose, often carries the most profound healing. Number 15. Grape leaves, the wrapping the world forgot. Here is the one almost no one expects. Not the grape, not the juice, not the wine, The leaf, grape leaves appear throughout the ancient Mediterranean world. They were used in Greek, Roman, Levantine, and Byzantine cooking, stuffed, boiled, used to wrap fish before grilling, layered into preserved foods. In the Middle East, dolmades, grape leaves, stuffed with rice and herbs, remain a traditional dish still made in homes today. What science has discovered in the past 2 decades about grape leaves is quietly remarkable. Grape leaves are extraordinarily concentrated in oligomeric proanthocyanidins, OPCs, and quercetin at levels far higher than found in the fruit itself. OPCs are some of the most potent vascular antioxidants known. They strengthen the walls of capillaries and veins, reduce venous insufficiency, and have shown specific activity in reducing the permeability of arterial walls, one of the mechanisms through which plaque begins to accumulate. Research on grape leaf extract has found significant improvements in circulation and reductions in leg swelling and venous inflammation. More relevant to arterial health, OPC supplementation has been shown to reduce oxidative modification of LDL cholesterol and improve endothelial function. You can find grape leaves brined in jars at Middle Eastern grocery stores. Rinse them well, stuff them with rice, lemon, herbs, and a little olive oil, and slow cook them in broth. Grape leaf extract is also available as a supplement. Here is what every single food on this list has in common. Not one of them was invented. Not one of them was engineered in a laboratory, optimized by a team of nutritional scientists, patented, or placed behind a paywall. Every single one of them grew from the earth, was tended by ordinary hands, and was passed from one generation to the next through the simplest and most human of acts. Sharing a meal. The Egyptians knew garlic. The Israelites knew lentils and figs. The Greeks pressed olive oil. The ancients stuffed grape leaves and simmered barley and crushed coriander seeds into their bread. Generations of grandmothers and healers and farmers knew these things not because they had laboratory data, but because they watched. They remembered. They cared for one another with what the earth provided. And then something happened. The knowledge began to move. It moved away from kitchens and into clinics, away from gardens and into factories, away from grandmothers and into corporations. And in the moving, a great deal was lost, or perhaps more accurately, it was made to seem less valuable than it is. This is not medical advice. Always speak with a qualified professional before making changes to your diet or health regimen, especially if you are pregnant, nursing, or managing a health condition. That matters. And I mean it sincerely. But I also mean this sincerely. The research is real. The evidence behind these foods is genuine and growing. You do not have to choose between ancient wisdom and modern science. They are pointing, more and more, in the same direction. The olive tree is still standing. The pomegranate still grows on the vine. The garlic still pushes its green shoots through the soil each spring. These foods did not wait for a scientist to validate them. They simply kept doing what they have always done. So which one are you going to start with? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one, and I want to know. If this video gave you something real today, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We post every week, and every week we come back to the same quiet conviction. This knowledge belongs to you. It always did. Go tend what was always yours.